I know before you click on this video, you must have already seen that we are to decompose this fraction. We are to decompose it. So what it means is separate them. So let me just go in straight away, right away. So I'll say 7x plus 5 over x minus 1 squared, then multiply by 2x. So when you look at this, when you look at the denominator, you see that we have x minus 1 power 2. So this power 2 is a repeatable factor. So what does it mean? We say this is equivalent to a over x minus 1, then plus b, x minus 1 squared. So if you have cube, so you do it 3 times. If you have to the power of 4, we do it 4 times, okay? So the next will be x minus 1 power 3. The other one will also be x minus 1 power 4, and so on and so forth. So we are done with this repeatable factor. So we now go to this. We now say plus c over x plus 2. So that is how you start your partial fraction, okay? And in my video, go and watch why we did this, why we are putting these constants, because we need to know the constants that are going to be part of this fraction that we are decomposing. So for us to be able to now solve this question, we definitely have to multiply both of them, both the right hand and the left hand side, by our common denominator. So we have x plus 2. Then so you multiply it through. Also, this part, you also say x minus 1 square multiplied by x plus 2. Okay? So by doing this, this will definitely cancel out this, right? So we have 7x plus 5 equals, so let's use this term, let's use this fraction rather, multiply with this. So we are going to have a in the bracket of x minus 1, then left with x plus 2. All right, remember we have square here, so if we cancel 1, so we are still going to have 1. If we cancel this and cancel one of these, so we are still going to be left with one of these, then this. That is what we wrote here. Okay, so plus 2 plus b rather. So if we also do for b, so that means if we cancel out this, so we are going to have x plus 2. Finish. So now plus c. So plus c, if we cancel out this, so we have x minus 1 squared. So that is how to multiply it through. So now what you are going to do is you are going to find the value of each constant, okay? So now we have 3 constants. The best thing for you to do, okay, there are many ways to do it, okay? However, what the best thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel out each term so that I can find the remaining constant. What do I mean? I can say let this be 0, let this be 0, so that I can find c. So when I get my c, I also say let this be 0, and so on. So what can we do? So we need to find a way whereby these variables, they are going to be 0. So we can say for here, I can easily use let x be equals to -1. Okay, so I can use this. I can say x minus 1 equals 0. So let x be plus 1 rather. So I say x equals to 1. So if I put in 1 here, every term here is going to be 0, and definitely every term here is going to be 0. So I can be able to find b. So I'll now say 7 multiplied by 1 plus 5 equals, this is going to be 0, because when I have a minus 1 plus 1 minus 1, then 1 plus 2 plus b, I have 1 plus 2 plus c, I have 1 minus 1 squared, okay? So everything, because this is 0, right? 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 multiplied by a is 0, and 0 multiplied by 1 plus 2, which is 3, is 0. So definitely what we are going to have here is, this is going to give me 12, equals to, this is 0, this is 0. So I now have b, 3, because we have 1 plus 2 is 3. So 3 multiplied by d is 3b. So I will now divide both sides by 3. So this is going to give me 4 equals to b. All right. So this is how I get my constant b. So you can still use the same thing to also find maybe c or d. Okay, so let's go for c. Let's go for c. Now for c, we are going to make these two to be what? To be 0. Okay. So basically here I have 2 here, so plus 2 here, x plus 2. So I can make x to be negative 2. Or if you are not sure, you can just say x plus 2, let's equate them to 0. So x will now be negative 2. So you now say let x be negative 2. Okay, so if I substitute, I don't need to write all these things again. So if I substitute that here, this is 0. If I substitute that here, this is 0. So negative 2. So I'll now say 7 multiplied by negative 2 plus 5 equals to c. And I have negative 2 minus 1 squared. So this is going to give me negative 14 plus 5 will give me negative 9 equals, so I'll have c, negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3 squared, is going to give me 9. So this will be 9 multiplied by c, so we'll now divide both sides by 9. So we have c to be minus 1. C to be minus 1. And that is how you get the value for the constant c. So let's now look for a, okay? So now a is a little bit tricky because if you look from here, we have this factor here. We have it here. So if we make x to be 0, a is going to definitely be, if we make x to be plus 1, a is going to be 0. If we make x to be minus 2, a is still going to be 0. So what are we going to do? Since we've gotten the value of b and c, the best thing for you to do is to choose any value for x, and you get the value of your a. Okay, so I'm going to write it here. I can choose, let me choose the simplest. Let me say let x be equal to negative 1. Okay, so here I now say 7 minus multiplied by negative 1 plus 5 equals, I have a negative 1 minus 1. So I have negative 1 plus 2 plus b. What is b? Remember, b is 4. 4, we have negative 1 plus 2. Then what is c? Plus c. C is negative 1. So we can easily write minus 1 in the bracket of negative 1 minus 1 squared. So let's simplify. This will be negative 7 plus 5 will give us negative 2. And this is going to give us a, let me do it this way. So we have negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Now, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So 1 multiplied by negative 2, so it's going to give us negative 2a. So for this, we have negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Now we have negative 2 here, then square is positive 4. Positive 4 multiplied by negative 1 will give us negative 4, right? So this will cancel this because we have positive and negative here, so they cancel each other. So I divide both sides by negative 2, negative 2. So this will cancel this, and this will give me 1 equals to a. Okay? So the value of the constant a is 1. So what do? We just substitute them into our equivalent fraction. So this is going to be a is 1 over x minus 1 plus b. What is b? B is 4 over x minus 1 squared, then minus, because c is negative 1. So 1 over x plus 2, and that is our partial fraction. So this particular fraction they give us. And you can also solve it. You can also reverse it back to get to this if you have the time. So this is how to do the partial fraction. Please watch my next video where we'll be explaining where we have x inside the bracket. So that we call that